Says I'm live, but not always. So 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the ban list April 2019 discussion. This is going to be a live stream at the same time. So if I do speak as if I'm not talking to the actual viewer at the time, it's because I'm responding to a comment that will pop up on my screen right there. Anyway, we are now talking about the April 2019 ban list. And when we're talking about that, we need to talk about what's on top of meta and if Konami are likely to do anything about it, and if they are, what are they going to do about it? For example, Sky Striker. Sky Striker has been top of the meta, like not top, not tippy to top, but quite high in the meta since it came out almost a year ago at this point. I think it's high time it's been hit. All they've really done is hit drone, which stops the Kagari loop, I guess, in a sense. Stops you from going into a link 2 like immediately in Sky Strikers, which to be honest you don't want to do anyway. It was a very minor hit that hasn't slowed it down at all, let's be fair. So if we're talking about what should be hit in the deck, I personally think Kagari and Widow Anchor, and maybe even Kagari and modules. Roll call, whatever it's called, multi-roll, that's it. So I think if Kagari and multi-roll gets hit, limited to 1 even, that would slow the deck down immediately, because if you think about it, the main annoying part about Sky Striker, yes, is the Widow Anchors, don't get me wrong, I get annoyed at Widow Anchor, but it's the fact that it's constantly recycled. If you only have 1 Kagari, which it's only at 1 in OCG anyway, so 1 Kagari so you can't recycle it that way, and multi-roll so you can't do it that way either, that will slow the deck down a lot to the point that it's no longer meta but still playable, unlike, say, Zodiac when that got hit. Zodiac just basically became dead. But with Sky Striker, I think it'll still be playable. I might see some meta play, but if it's hit in that way, it'll no longer be tippity top, or even like it might turn rogue at that point, to be fair. So that's my prediction when it comes to, like, say, Sky Strikers. Salamangrate's kind of new. I doubt they'll get hit already, and if they do, which I think will be weird because they're not exactly meta right now. They're more roguish. They're very powerful rogue, don't get me wrong, but they're not meta. So if they do get hit, I reckon Gazelle to like 2, maybe 1. It won't get outright banned because that's just dumb. Maybe Violet Chimera put down to like 2, maybe 1, because obviously that's really good at like getting rid of your opponent's other side. Decks like Autogeist and that, don't really need to talk about. BA, nah. Danger, everyone keeps talking about being a big problem, but I personally don't perceive it as that big of a problem, personally. But if people really are calling out for the deck to be nerfed, I think limiting Nessie and maybe Jackalope, because at that point you're damaging the Danger deck but not the Danger engine per se, which means, yeah, Dangers would still be quite powerful, don't get me wrong, but again, a deck that's just Danger wouldn't get very far. But a deck that incorporates Dangers, like, say, mine and Alex's Danger Zombies, that might still do well because we don't run Nessie or Jackalope because we don't see the point in it. But if you start attacking Thunderbird, Mothman, Dogman, like you're attacking the entire deck's playability, in a sense, in like other decks. Even if you attack Snek, obviously that's not its official name, it's like Tusukan or whatever how it's pronounced, so I'll just call it Snek. But if they attack Snek, even that is somewhat playable in, say, Zombies and whatnot, because if it's discarded, it special summons itself. If it isn't discarded, it still special summons itself. It's a free body on field. No deck will ever complain about a free body on field except Sky Striker. So, you know, it's good in like any build. So maybe that'll get hit, but again, as long as they don't hit those major ones, the playability in multiple decks will still be there. So Danger being hit wouldn't be the biggest pain in the butt to everyone, unless you play like pure Danger, I guess, if they hit those. So again, if we're going to put them in areas, I reckon if they're going to do any, maybe Nessie to 1. Let's work it out. Nessie to 1, Jackalope maybe to 2, because obviously Nessie allows you to have its discard effect as well as its summon, like as well as it being on a body on field, while Jackalope makes it so it has to be a body on field. Well, meanwhile, Nessie can still give you like the discard effect, like say Mothman's discard effect. So Nessie is somewhat more powerful in that sense. Plus, if it special summons itself, it's still a very good, like, big body on the field. So I reckon that's how Dangers are going to get hit if they do. Prank Kids, a couple of people I've noticed have talked about like nerfing Prank Kids. I don't see a need. If you're going to nerf it at all, maybe hit the links, like Link 4, maybe Bow Wow Bark, maybe even like Dodo Doodle Doo. I don't want them to get hit because I feel like they're not powerful enough to warrant being hit. But if they do, I reckon they should hit the extra deck more than the main deck. So a lot of people are saying, oh, they need to ban Dropsies or limit Dropsies and Roxies and that. And it's a 4-monster main deck. You would kill off the entire fun of the deck as well as the entire deck just by doing that. If you want to power, like, get rid of the power behind the deck, you need to actually work out which one's the problem. And the monsters that are used for the fusions and the links aren't the problem. It might be the links and the fusions because they can be quite powerful in the sense of, like, Rocket Rye can bring back the Link 4, which is Rip Roaring Roaster, which is basically a Harpy's Feathers Duster, and Battle Butler can't be brought back, but it is also basically a Regeki. So if we're gonna say, oh, something's a problem in that deck, it would be one of those two. It wouldn't be, you know, the monsters inside the deck per se, because most it does is 500 burn damage and 1,000 life points. Fantasy sends a Prank Kids card from deck to the grave, so the most you can do with it is send Plan, and then use Plan's effect in grave. And then Roxy's just gets rid of like your own resources to draw another card, which is somewhat useful if you drew into, like, say, a second Roxy's, or if you've drawn into a card that you particularly don't like when it comes to this matchup because you've gone like blind second or blind first. So it's good in that sense, but other than that, you don't really need to hit them at all. Trying to think what else was meta at one point. Altergeist, they're practically dead now. Thunder Dragons, I do believe, need to get hit. I reckon if we hit Colossus and put that to like a 2 or a 1, maybe. I think that's basically all they really need to do with Thunder Dragons, to be fair. Because Colossus is the main one everyone is like terrified of. Because even Titan, not many people care that much. And even if so, we could put that on the semi-limited maybe. It's not like many people are like running like 3 copies that I know of. Don't attack me. I ain't been to any locals for a while. I play casually, help. But I feel like they're the main big deals everyone's screaming their heads off about. People are saying to like limit Ash Blossom now, or like semi-limit Ash Blossom, because it's becoming a bigger problem because it's a common and really easy to get your hands on now. But in reality, just because a card is no longer difficult to get your hands on doesn't mean that that card itself is better now. So if there wasn't a reason to ban them before, there's no reason to ban them now if it's basically just stopping your opponent from doing their searches. Yes, we're in a sort of search meta, but in a sense that means it's more of an anti-meta card that's a hand trap. You don't really need to ban it. If they negate one of your searches, that's it. That's the only search they can negate, even if they have multiple Ash Blossoms. So you just need to sort of bait them. If you don't bait them, then unfortunately they have bested you in the sense that it's not like it's an OP card per se. If I've been ashed, I get a little but I carry on my plays as if nothing had happened. If I can, if not, I just end my turn. I don't see the big deal with that one personally. People are calling for Skull Dread to be limited, and after seeing the combo that you can do with it, I kind of agree. Skull Dread is kind of out there now, and we don't need that kind of negativity in our life. Guard Dragons coming out means Red Eyes Darkness Metal might be banned. I doubt it though. Summon Sorceress, I personally believe should be banned. I'm using it now, don't get me wrong, but I personally believe the card should be banned because when we get Needle Fiber, that's just going to be an OP card. Not that it's not an OP card now, because it's basically, hey, I can make a Link 4 for free. If you can get into a Link 4, you can immediately go into a Link 4, because you just give your opponent one of the monsters in your hand and go straight into your Link 4 by summoning one of your monsters from your deck. Done. Like, it's a free Link 4. Especially if you have, like, say, I don't know, say you have Summon Sork here, and here you had a monster to begin with anyway. Then you go to Summon Sork, and then because you had this monster, you can now special summon another one here, which then will allow you to go into Borrel Load, and use different materials, which means in, say, like a zombie deck, you can go into Borreload or Borreguard or Borrelsword and use a Mizuki instead of like just using whatever you already used to begin with. And now you've got Mizuki engrave to activate Mizuki's effect to go into another card from your graveyard, and it just goes into the bigger plays. I think if we do ban any of the links in this new ban list, I think Summon Sork is probably going to be the one that's banned. Anything coming back? I think everyone's calling for Tribe Infecting Virus to come back. I really don't want that to happen because most of the decks nowadays, the only two that don't really follow this is for higher end prank kids, but most decks have the same type. Cyber Dragons, all machines. Ancient Gears, all machines. ABC, all machines. I'm going for the machines. I'm a massive machine duelist. Thunder Dragons, Thunder. You know, so it's really powerful. All you have to do is basically discard a card and be like, lol, I declare dragon. No more blue eyes. Oh, I declare thunder. Goodbye, Thunder Dragon. Like, and unless you can negate it there and then with like an impermanence or something, you're fucked. So, yeah, maybe evenly matched to 2 as well, because people have been calling that, but I think Harpy's Feathers Duster coming to 1 would be the sneak, like, look what just happened, like, sort of like they did with the Monster Reborn last year. I think a lot of people calling for Infinity to be banned. Not gonna happen. I don't even see Infinity as a big problem. It's not even a small problem, to be fair. I mean, it's not really much left that I think might happen. They might up Electromite, but I doubt it because pendulums are still a thing. They're still trying to become meta, so bringing back Electromite would like give them more meta relevance again. And they've been meta for so long, it's good to see them out of the meta for a while. Cleethorpes Scout might go to semi-limited or unlimited. I would love that because I'm building a Cleethorpes build myself right now, and that would be that would be a godsend, Konami. So that might happen because a lot of people are saying that's not a problem anymore, and they're not wrong unless someone decides to abuse it, which I will admit I kind of am planning to do that. I don't know, maybe if the Relinquished deck that my mate built that's on the channel, if that becomes somewhat relevant, which it might do because I've seen him play it and Jesus Christ. But if that becomes somewhat relevant, that might start getting hit, like maybe Millenniumized to 2 or 1 and so on and so forth. If we're talking about Salaman Greats getting hit, I know we talked about that a little bit ago, but Gazelle would, out of all of them, probably will be hit because that's like the main piece in the main deck. Spinny might get hit, or an errata, to say even if it's using an Xyz material, it counts as leaving the field, because the plays you can do with that is quite staggering. Maybe Pot of Desires being put to 2 or 1 because of the late, like we had a lot of Gren Marju decks and a lot of like Eater of Millions and that going and doing their thing. Not really much else needs to be hit. I am trying my best, and after this ban list actually comes out, I am going to try my best to bring back some of the decks I love and try to make them meta. It won't happen, but I might try it. So like Cyber Dragons, I've loved them since like GX era, and same with Ojamas, hence why I'm the Ojama part. I built a basic Ojama deck. I haven't done a profile on it because it's not complete. I'm proxying a couple of cards. But when I complete that deck, I will be doing a deck profile on it, and I'm hoping with Ojama Emperor coming out in dual power, we get some actual decent, you know, some actual game, like some actual stuff to do. Because right now all we're doing is locking out our opponent's monster zones, and there's not much you can do with that nowadays because links. So I'm hoping with Ojama Emperor we get something good out of it. I personally think Ojamas are okay, but we're falling behind on the time since even the end of GX, if even then. The Ojama support for ABC and Arm Dragon didn't really help, so I'm hoping. There are a few things I don't want to get banned that everyone's calling for. Infinity. I don't feel like we need it banned, and also, I will admit, I run Infinity in most decks I have, because it's not that big of a problem. And it's a fun card to occasionally bring out. Especially when your opponent least expects it. Oh, it's beautiful. Trying to think other cards that they're trying to get banned that shouldn't. I've seen a couple of posters that said about Salamangreats. I don't think they should be banned yet because they're too new and we don't know their true power. Prank Kids I don't think should be hit at all because, again, they're just rogue at this point. Dangers, I personally believe if we're going to hit them, like, only hit those, because if we hit anything else, it's kind of dumb, in my opinion, because it's just going to kill off the deck's viability in any way, shape, or form. We don't want to do that. We just want to nerf the full danger build, because that is what was causing a lot of people problems. Danger all cast, yeah, that may have topped that YCS in Deucen 4, I'm probably butchering that. But it doesn't mean that the dangers are the part of the problem. It might be all cast, or it might just be a really good build. Just because something wins YCS doesn't mean it's a problem. And that's the thing everyone needs to get when it comes to ban lists. Just because something does well doesn't mean that it's a problem when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself. I feel like we try to make things banned because they're too powerful, but in reality, I think a ban list should only be used if it overtakes all of Yu-Gi-Oh! So like, say, the Yatagarasu Sulok. That needed to be banned because it's all anyone would play because of fear of being Yatagarasu themselves, you know? And that's the only time I feel like we should ban something. Yeah, Sky Striker, that's been played for way too long. It's meta sheep, and to quote, I think it's the Self or Farther, one of the two. Every Sky Striker player looks bored when they do a deck profile, when they play. Fucking put them out of their misery, Konami. Make it no longer good, so then they no longer want to kill themselves. Oh. But that is my discussion. I feel like we've gone over the main ones I feel like that should be banned. If you've got any other ideas, put them in the comments. I mean, it's a discussion after all. And I don't know if me or Alex is going to do the reaction to when the ban list actually comes out. If not, both of us, because I think he's moving into his new place and we might be able to do videos there. So,